Okay, we're live.
Okay, good evening. and Thank you for your patience. We'll call to order the regular monthly meeting of the City of Helotes Planning and Zoning Commission. It is March the 4th, 7:05 PM. I'd ask the commission secretary to call the roll, please.
Greg Michelle.
Here.
Jason Whiteman. Here. Alex Lewis here. Ann Caraway.
Here.
Buck Russell.
Here. Michael Glover from staff is with us as well. Our first item is a public hearing to give all interested persons the right to appear and be heard on a request by Shanefield CSW LP to set the official zoning classification as General Business District B3 for 6.714 acres of newly annexed property, 2 tracks on Shanefield Road near the intersection of FM 1560. We'll open the public hearing at 7:06. And I'd invite anyone who cares to speak to that to come forward at this time. Being that no one is present to speak to it, we will close the public hearing at 7:06 and move on to the next item, which is item 4, which is for citizens to be heard. Michael, do we have any citizens?
No, sir.
Great. Can we reduce the volume a touch if possible? A little feedback. Item 5 tonight is the discussion and action on the minutes of regular meetings held on December 3rd, 2024 and January 7th, 2024. You may recall the minutes were not presented last month, and so we have 2 before us today. I would invite any edits or corrections to either set of minutes, and if there are none, we could take a motion to cover both, but let's see if anybody's got anything. Nope. So if somebody would care to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the 2 meetings as written.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jason, all in favor of approving the minutes as submitted of the regular meetings of the Planning and Zoning Commission on December 3rd, 2024 and January 7th, it should be 2025. Please signal aye.
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 Opposed? It's approved. Minutes are approved. Thank you all very much. All right, we will move to item 6 tonight, which is discussion and action on the request by Shanefield CSW LP to set the zoning classification as General Business District B3 for 6.714 acres of newly annexed property, 2 tracks on Shanefield Road near its intersection with FM 1560. Michael, would you care to introduce this?
So this is property that was newly annexed and approved by city council. So now we just need to designate zoning for it, and they're shooting for B3. Code tells us that it gives us 100 and I believe it's 80 days to do that, but we're going to try to move pretty quickly with this one.
Okay, and is there a representative of the applicant here tonight if there are any questions?
Yes.
We may not have questions, so we may not need you, but you're here if we need us. If we need you, thank you. You need us. I'll open the floor to
Being very needy.
the commission. If there are questions, comments for this item before us, and Michael's got the parts of the item up on the screen if there are particular.
Yeah, so you'll see that there's 2 tracks.
Yep.
At the corner of FM 1560 and Shanefield. So this track in the very front is CVS, and then this kind of circles behind it, and there's a second track right behind it. So it's a total of 6.714 acres.
Great. And the applicant does have a proposed use for this already, correct?
Correct,
Which is within our scheduled uses.
correct.
And Michael, what is on the other side of there's a CVS there. What's on the other side of that second rectangular tract?
Are we talking about this side here or behind here?
Towards Gom Road, right there. Yeah,
Here?
next to it. Yes, right there.
Okay, so all of this, here, I think it's this property where they had, if I'm not mistaken, looks like they had like food trucks out there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep. So this whole area here is, at some point, was leasing some space out to food trucks. So they've since stopped doing that, like in December of 2024. So the food trucks actually moved a little bit further down the road. We're in the process, since it's already been annexed,
Mhm.
you know, we're in the process of approving demolition permits so that they can demolish the existing buildings that are there. And, once we designate the zoning for it, then we'll be able to move forward with construction permits.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, given that the only issue for us is the request for zoning for B3, I don't know that usage is even something we're allowed to, because that has to fall within the code. This being a recommendation item, I think we just need to address whether B3 is appropriate for that particular lot. Given the fact that everything around it is business other than the slight corner that's at the very, very back that's residential. And I don't know if that tract is city of San Antonio or if it's that county, that residential neighborhood. But I think that B3 is the appropriate zoning for this particular property, given its surrounding area.
Fair enough. And I would just point out this was a public hearing and notice was sent out to surrounding
Correct.
properties, as we know. Buck or Jason, anything?
I have one question for staff. Have you looked at the development code or our development code in relation to the CVS development that's already existing? Is it kind of more or less comply with our code regarding parking and coverage and?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and I also like to just add that regarding the proposed usage for this, that the city have already come into an agreement as far as a development agreement.
Okay.
So there's going to be some things that are going to kind of be tweaked regarding the commercial pads and things that are going to be built. However, it is something that's already been pre-approved by city council.
Okay.
Yeah, so when they proposed the annexation piece of it, those were the elements that were presented to council as well.
Okay.
Okay, so at this point, unless there are other questions, a motion would be appropriate for item 6.
Okay, I move,
And it's a rec-
yes, I move to recommend the request by Shanefield CSWLP to set the zoning classification as General Business District B3 for 6.714 acres of newly annexed property, 2 tracks on Shanefield Road near its intersection with FM 1560, identified as BCAD property tax ID numbers 236168 and 236169.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion of the motion, Ann or Alex?
None.
Or
Thank
anyone
you.
else?
No.
Okay, so the motion is to recommend approval of the request by Shanefield CSWLP to set the zoning classification as General Business District B3 for 6.714 acres of newly annexed property, 2 tracks on Shanefield Road near its intersection with FM 1560. All in favor of the motion, please signal aye.
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 Opposed, motion is approved. Goes to council the
March
13th.
Thank you. The owner appreciates being a part of the city of Helotes.
Great. Look,
Thank you.
thank you. We will go to item 7 tonight, and just for purposes of reading it out, I will read out the letters and without the enumerating each one. Item 7 is discussion and action on a request by Lena Duque for approval of a conceptual design plan pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98 zoning, Section 253 procedures and review standards for a building addition to the Tractor Supply Company located at 11946 Leslie Road, including items A through I, which include site plan, general building concept, exterior lighting, and signage. Michael.
Yes, sir. So what Tractor Supply has done, and they're doing this to all of them. So this is the proposed area here. When you are facing Leslie Road in front of Tractor Supply, all the additions that they're proposing, or the addition that they're proposing, is going to be on the left side of the building.
Mhm.
Okay. So currently, if you kind of look at this perimeter here, this is existing fence that they utilize to pretty much enclose products that they have outside. Okay, so what they're gonna do is basically, again, on the left side of the building, is they're gonna build what they refer to as a living goods center. The actual sign's gonna say garden center, but that's this white area here. So So what they're also gonna propose is, again, this is existing fencing here. What they're gonna propose is getting rid of the curbside, and they're actually gonna use the existing fence, and they're gonna open it up to where vehicles can pass through here. And basically, you'll be doing your curbside, but you'll be picking up, whatever it may be. For example, feed or,
Mhm.
whatever it is they
Oh, yeah.
sell in the garden area, and they'll load it up for you.
Code and plus the 25%. So that would be my biggest concern.
For clarification, good. I'm gonna cut you off there. For clarification, that sign D, which is the variance requesting sign, it's the text on it is different for what is in the image versus what is in the proposal.
True, I've noticed that.
Can you tell us which is the
Just garden
correct
center.
one, Michael? The image on the building says garden center with some icons above it.
Mhm.
In the proposal, it says, welcome to the TSC Garden Center.
It'll be garden center.
Oh, okay.
It will be what shows on the building at the moment?
Yes, because this is gonna be the finished product. Well, you can't see what I'm looking at, but the one that shows garden center in color, it's the rendering.
Right, but
That's not this.
it seems like that's what
Okay.
they're proposing.
So not the one in the proposal that is actually labeled as proposed illuminated sign. Okay. Is the sign illuminated?
No,
Okay, so this is their submission as opposed to ours, right?
correct.
Okay. So what they have labeled proposed illuminated sign is not in fact what they're proposing.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't mean to be redundant. I just want to be clear what we're talking
Oh,
about.
I know, it doesn't make, how do we know that, Michael? Is that what they're saying to you, that
So
the
if you
photo-
go to page 10,
Page what?
page 10,
okay?
where it says proposed.
That's a good point.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so that's a rendering that they submitted to us as the finished product.
They did, okay,
Yes.
because the other one has proposed illuminated, okay.
So like where it says garden center,
Mhm.
that's the finished
Right,
product.
page 10.
So in other words, when I spoke to Lena, I asked her like, if I need a rendering of what it's gonna look like when it's done. You know, because there is that discrepancy on the elevations as opposed to like what this is. So this is the final product.
So that is a non-illuminated sign.
Correct.
Now, we could specify, we should specify what we're approving in that regards or what we're voting on in a motion.
I got,
They actually do have a monument sign already.
so the
Yeah.
page 5, it says monument.
Yeah.
Single business. Now that is their current, or are they going to change that also?
That's not gonna change.
It's going to stay.
Nope.
Okay.
See, the thanks for shopping sign, they're asking for it under traffic control signs. If I look at page 2, the top of page 2,
Right.
and I don't see that as a traffic control sign. Do they want to submit it under something else, or
So-
is this?
So the thanks for shopping sign will be on that road to where you lead out. Okay, so again, it's not necessarily a directional sign, but it still falls under the miscellaneous.
Okay, so, so is that letter I incorrect? Under traffic control signs? I mean, I don't know.
So this has been submitted as a traffic control sign. We have a separate category called miscellaneous signs. which this
Exactly.
is not submitted as. And so I think we need to take it on its face as traffic control. And whether, I mean, one can have different opinions on whether it is or is not, but that's how it's been
Yeah,
proposed.
Okay,
They do have an exit sign at that same location, more or less, which I think would fall under traffic control.
Right.
yeah, exit I would consider that too. I would not consider the thanks for shopping. This presentation, I think, is a little difficult to follow. I think if they had had it side by side, a little bit easier, but all right.
Well, at this point, we can keep talking about it. I would invite a motion, and just from what I'm hearing concerns about item D, I want to remind you that we are within our authority as a body to allow up to 25% overage for a sign without needing a variance. The number of signs is an issue. The other issue that seems to be one that we're talking about is sign labeled I, which is the thanks for shopping sign. Commissioner Whiteman has pointed out that the sign I, thanks for shopping, and sign H, exit, are on either side of the same drive departing the property. So if you have concerns about that, that is something to be aware of.
Okay, what is 25% more? Oh, he wouldn't have to ask for a variance with 25% more.
Though for number of signs, they would,
Number of signs.
right? Because there's already the sign on the.
Well, it would still be a variance. It would just be one we could grant.
We could grant, we
As
don't have to go
opposed
to
the
council, but it still has to go to council because of the number of signs.
Because of the number.
Yeah.
So the whole issue will go there anyway.
Okay,
And 25% of, what was it,
40
40?
is 50 square feet,
Thank you.
and they're asking for,
81.
210%-ish.
oh, yeah,
81.7.
yeah. Okay. Okay, so, okay, are we gonna, do we want to break this up or do
So
we?
you do have that option when you motion. Yep.
Okay, so,
Go for it.
okay, I'm trying.
And I would
to
suggest the
find
signs, break off the signs as one and
Yeah,
the other.
okay, so I'm gonna do a motion to, is this a recommendation? Yes, no,
Yes.
yeah, it's not on there. Okay, I move to recommend approval of the request by Lena Duque for approval, the request by Lena Duque for approval of the conceptual design plan pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98 zoning, Section 98253, procedures and review standards for a building addition to the Tractor Supply Company located at 11946 Leslie Road, Helotes, Texas 78023, more particularly described as VCAD Prop ID number 1201535, to include only the site plan, the general building concept, and the exterior lighting. And then that's one motion,
So
and then we can take the signage, and to take the signage
As submitted, correct?
as submitted.
Is
A,
there,
B, and C.
is there a second on that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. So discussion of this motion regarding items A, B, and C, and Buck.
Look, no,
No,
Nothing additional.
Alex.
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion is to recommend approval of the request by Lena Duque. The conceptual design plan pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 98, Section 253, that is zoning, procedures, and review standards for building addition to the Tractor Supply Company 11946 Leslie Road, Helotes, to include item A, site plan, B, general building concept, and C, exterior lighting as submitted. All in favor of the motion, signal aye.
I,
Opposed? It's unanimously approved, and that motion goes to City Council on March the 13th. I would now invite a motion on the signage items, which covers items D through I. And I don't think, Michael, I think we're okay not calling it out, reading out each item.
Correct.
Is that, oh, we got it back. Hallelujah.
what's that?
We got it.
Oh, we got it back.
It's not there.
Okay, so let me just ask a few things here. So D is the big sign that they require variance on.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, E is the veterans and F is the pickups, and then we have the feeding. Okay. And the exit sign. Okay,
And I is the things. The last one is the things for shopping.
okay, well, I'm gonna do a motion to, in regards to letter D, the signage of the garden center, to recommend approval of the number of signs and approving the number of it and allowing there to be a sign, however, not approving the size of the sign. And in regards to E, F, and G, and H, recommending approval of those items. And in regard to letter I, the signage that states "Thanks for shopping" under traffic control signs, I recommend not to approve that sign.
To clarify, would you clarify which property this is for, just to read out the first part of it? So it's on the record.
Oh, I'm sorry, the property described as VCAD property ID number 1201535 and part of the request by Lena Duque
Right, for the Tractor Supply.
for the Tractor Supply.
Can you clarify one thing in your motion before we get a second? You had said item D, recommending approval of the number of signs, but not the
The
size.
size of the garden center sign.
I would invite a
Clarification.
clarification on what size, in other words, to conform to code or to allow a language here is the.
Okay. If it would,
Excess up
we
to
would,
25%.
yeah, with an allowance of the 25% increase of the sign, which would not require variance. Is that correct?
A variance from council,
From council?
right? We would grant the variance.
We would grant it. Oh, okay.
So what we would.
So what would that
essentially
footage be?
Doing was saying that you would grant the variance for the size up to, but not exceeding 50 square feet.
Thank you. Yes. Well said, comrade.
Because that's what you basically got to.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Discussion of the motion.
Will you be willing to state it again?
I'm gonna give
We'll
it a
second it.
Do you have
Okay.
any comments or discussion of the motion?
No, I'm fine.
And Jason,
No, I think we've said our piece here.
Nothing additional.
Alex?
No, sir, I'm
All
sorry.
right, I'm gonna try to read it back. So the motion is to recommend approval of the request by Lena Duque for approval of the conceptual design plan pursuant to code chapter 98 zoning section 253 procedures and review standards for a building addition at the Tractor Supply Company 11946 Leslie Road, including signage in letters D through I, with D recommending approval of the number of signs and allowing a variance for the size of the sign up to a total of 50 square feet. Approval of E, F, G, H, recommend approval as submitted, and recommending disapproval of I, the thanks for shopping sign. That conform to what you have, Alex?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of that motion, please signal aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is approved, and staff will communicate to the applicant that March 13th is the final determination. So
So for this one, it'll be March 27th.
as long as the applicant knows that, that's.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Let us move ahead to item 8 tonight. Item 8 tonight is discussion and action on a request by Diva Dog Lady LLC for approval of a signage and associated variances for Canine Cafe Boutique and Spa, pet grooming and pet spa provider located at 10822 Braun Road, San Antonio, including signs A, B, and C. Signs A and B are wall signs pursuant to Chapter 66 signs, Section 51 commercial signs projecting wall and hanging or in or on windows. And is C as well. So Michael, you would like to introduce this?
So this is, again, a variance request because there's a total of 2 signs off of Brown Road. There's a total of 3 signs altogether. So let me just kind of give you, hopefully the power don't go out or whatever, but
There's the applicant's got to be here, right? Okay.
yes.
Okay, so if we have questions,
Yeah. So it was kind of hard to get like a aerial view of this because they have a pretty cool canopy of trees. So this is kind of roughly the way the buildings are laid out. However, in this area here where you see building C, I'm sorry, sign C, it's kind of connected to the other building by a breezeway. Again, so this is kind of a little bit off of Spiller Road. It's on the corner of Spiller Road and Braun, okay? So the road to your left there is Spiller Road, okay? So the first sign, sign A, is right here where my mouse cursor is. I know, again, it's graining, but this is sign A. Sign C is also facing Brown Road technically. And again, this is a building and an entrance here, and you'll see that there's a breezeway that connects the two buildings like that. Okay, and then you have sign B is off of Spiller Road. So technically, if you look at sign A and sign B, they're in compliance.
Yeah.
But because you have sign C, sign A isn't in compliance because we're looking for a variance, right? Because now you have two facing Brown Road, and code only allows for one.
The two facing Braun Road are signs
A
A
and
and
C.
C.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I kind of give you this little break. This is Brown Road here. There's A and C facing Brown Road. And then off of Spiller Road, you have sign B. Okay, so let's kind of look at those real quick. This is sign A. You look at that, that's about 30 square feet. It's in compliance based on the linear square footage of the building. And again, that's right here. Okay. If you look, and this is kind of what the sign looks like. This is the only one that's eliminated. Okay. This is sign B. This is the one that's off of Spiller Road. So this is technically where it's at, right here. You go down this road and it's the wall facing Spiller Road.
And you said, sorry to interrupt you, but A is the illuminated one?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Which is this one here. Okay.
Yep.
And then, so this is kind of what it looks like. Again, in compliance, it's like 30, just from here to here where the red arrows, that's 33 square feet. And I believe this sign is only 30 square feet. Technically, the wall goes probably like 70 feet. You know, I wasn't gonna jump their fence or anything like that to get that measurement, but just to give you a little bit of kind of context in terms of what we're looking at. So well in compliance, right? So then this is kind of where we end up, where due to this small one, we would require the variance, right? So one of the things I want to point out is the location as to where it's at. So you see the white vehicle, you can kind of use that as your reference. The sign is right there. If you look at this picture here where my mouse is at, you're gonna see this actually connects to the other building where sign A is through like a breezeway, okay? Having said that, if you look at this little roof here, this sign, basically you go into this fence here and there's the entrance to where, and I'll let the applicant speak on that behalf, but I guess this is where you would drop off your dog, or where they, I guess, babysit them or watch them. Okay, yeah, because
So before, come up to the mic. And please just introduce your name and your business address.
Hi, my name is Desiree Chamorro. I am Canine Cafe Diva Dog Lady, located at 10822 Braun Road. And there is so many beautiful trees. I acquired the property in May of last year, and I'm trying to save the trees because they had a really bad ball moss and oak wilt. They've had some serious diseases, so we're trying to save them because I love trees. I don't want to cut them. Plus, the dogs need shade. They don't want, direct sun, because I have about 2 acres that I want to have like a dog park so that they can come out after they groom and they can sit and enjoy the property with their owner. And the grooming salon, which is the side building, is really hard to see from Braun Road because it's so set back. It's probably, what would you say, Michael, probably 800 feet from Braun Road? It's that building. So people don't know where to go. So they're going to the front of the house, they're going over here, they're calling. I'm not open yet as of yet, but I had some dry runs. I'm working on getting all my permits. And people just don't know where to go. So that's why I had put that other sign. Plus, they don't know where to park either. So the one on Spiller, nobody can really see unless you drive down Spiller. Nobody can see it. The one on Braun on the house, so then they're all going to the house and not going to where to drop off. So I figured to put the other sign. I wasn't aware of the 2 sign rule until I was contacted. And then I applied for the variance for that reason. 1, for parking so that people can find where to park, and 2, just find the building. And it is behind a fence and it is smaller than the one in the front.
So to clarify, the building that you described as we call it the house, is that part of the business?
It is.
Okay, and that's the one that is labeled, I think, sign A that has. the-
Sign A, correct?
That's the illuminated sign, and that is gonna be the self-service dog wash and the boutique and the bakery.
Different from.
So we're doing like dog cakes and cookies,
Got it.
and then there's a self-service where I have 5 tubs where people can come in and bathe their own dog. And then the boutique where they can buy the products and the accessories and the hats and the sunglasses
Got it.
and all the cute stuff.
And
So do you think it would benefit you more to have some kind of directional sign than just your logo there? Like, how do they know that is where you want them to go? How's
Right,
that
well,
helping you? I'm not
We've
sure.
been, I mean, I'm not really sure. Eventually, I don't have the money to do a parking lot in the front, but the front is eventually gonna be a parking lot. So, I mean, a directional sign maybe at a later date, but
I mean, the sign that you want to add, the C sign,
the C sign.
how is that really helping you? I mean, do you
'Cause
want to
they-
put entrance, or do you not need something more than just have
Gotcha.
the, you know,
So
that's
do you
what
think
I'm
I should
wondering.
put like another wording, like grooming entrance underneath that sign? I just figured with the logo, people know my logo because I do have another location in the medical center. So they see my logo, they usually stop. Then if they call, we've been saying, okay, go to the building on the left, or, you know, we want to put that in. Are you first time? Is this your first time here? And we want to give them directions on how to get to that building and look for the sign on the building on the left. They won't be able to see the one on Spiller, so they'll be able to see this one, the non-illuminated sign. But I can,
I'm just thinking that.
just not much room because there's
There's not, okay.
because there's a 6-foot fence there. That's the other thing. So it literally fits my logo and the website and the phone number. And I mean, I can't really go any higher because of the roof. I could probably say like grooming here or what.
But we wouldn't want you to go over the size requirement.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And it's
That's
just,
right.
it's a kind of a tight spot. So I just feel like we can tell them,
Just
go
got a
to,
foot to play with.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
It does show where it is at least they know, okay, this is located. And then it's a big property and people, it's new.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people will get the hang of it once I get open and get, you know, I just applied for my COO. So this past week.
other questions for the applicant who's up here? Buck,
No, Mr. Chairman.
Alex,
No, sir.
I think we're good.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. If you need anything else,
Yep.
I am very happy to be a part of Helotes. Thank
Thank
you.
Don't go far right now, in case there's more questions.
Bring your dogs to me.
All right, so at this point, we can have a motion. If there's no further questions, we could discuss a motion. So I would invite a motion. Reminding you, this is a recommendation item with a variance. I guess, Michael, does the variance apply to the entirety of the signs? I mean, how do we designate which is the variance? Does the variance have to attach to one of the signs?
So the way I kind of read it is like, I was leaning towards the fact that it's gonna
Number.
be
The number.
sign C, right? You know, but because you do have A and C in the front, you know, you're looking at the variance because of both.
Not the number and.
Right, due to the number, right? But as far as like
Okay,
signs, height, everything else is within code.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
It's just the number.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to recommend approval of discussion of an action on a request by Diva Dog Lady LLC for approval of signage and associated variances for Canine Cafe Boutique and Spa, a pet grooming and pet spa provider located at 10822 Braun Road, San Antonio, Texas, 78254 and identified as BCAD property ID number 236986, including the following: sign A, sign B, and sign C,
As submitted.
as submitted.
And you take out the first part of the motion, which is to recommend
Oh,
approval of
it's-
discussion. So we're not just, we're actually approving.
okay, we're actually, I'm sorry, I thought it was recommendation.
Yeah, no
okay,
problem.
Okay.
Is there a second
Second the motion.
discussion of the motion?
I think that, there's some hardships here clearly, and that a little grace is warranted.
I agree to add the curvature in the road,
Did
the
he
amount of
say-
traffic that area's getting now, definitely it gives her an opportunity to be seen and noticed.
Yes,
Recommend.
it's a recommendation. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Good. Second.
And these guys, Jason and Buck.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nothing.
No,
Yeah, my only comment would be, and I agree that there's a hardship here and good rationale for it. You may give thought going forward about whether at some point you want to adjust the language or the text that is on the signage as your business develops. So just keep that in mind. The motion is to recommend approval of the request by Diva Dog Lady LLC for signage associated with associated variances for K9 Cafe Boutique and Spa, Pet Grooming Spa, and Pet Spa, provider 10822 Brown Road, San Antonio, 78254, including signs A, B, and C as submitted. All in favor of the motion, please signal aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is approved. City Council on the 13th of March,
Signs will all be on the 27th.
27th, okay, 27th. Thank you, appreciate it. All right. Item 9, discussion and action on the request by David Alvarez for approval of signage for SA Total Tree Service with associated variances at 17285 Bandera Road, 78023, including the following: sign A, monument sign pursuant to code chapter 66 signs, section 49, commercial signs, signal business use monument type, and B, wall sign pursuant to code chapter 66, section 51, signs, commercial signs projecting wall and hanging around windows. Thank you all for sticking around. Michael, if you'd like to introduce it.
Sure. So back in 2021, this one went before city council and was approved. So granted the 25% increase. So it went from, because the linear footage of the building is 50 square feet. So the total sign was at 48 square feet. And then the phone number that was part of the sign exceeded it, because what was determined at that time was that was one sign. And let me I'm not sure, I'm assuming Alex, maybe you were there. I'm not sure if you were there, Greg, but back in 2021. So this is the area that we're talking about. So we'll kind of focus on the wall sign right now, which faces Bandera Road. And this is kind of what was approved, right? At that time, what they decided was that this is going to be submitted as like one sign. So a total of, I believe it was 62 square feet, just over 62 square feet. So they were granted that 25% because the linear feet of the building is only 50. So now the applicant is coming back to add the company logo. So obviously that's going to exceed the square footage allowed, because at that time, remember, if you look at the first two lines, that's one sign. If you look at the logo, then that's two signs. So there's a variance for that. The second variance would be just the increase in signage square footage. And this one is eliminated. So that's kind of what it looked like. You'll see, and I know, again, I apologize that it's grainy, but it's got the company logo and it's got some green lights. Now, I will say that the green lights don't actually face up, or I would say that they're kind of within code because they're not like excessive or pointing in other directions other than the sign itself. And I believe the applicant is here. We have additional questions.
Great. And the monument sign is new as well?
Yes. So that's the second sign. If you want me to go through that one real quick,
Sure.
I can do that.
Sure.
So that the monument sign is within code. So again, I'm sorry, let me just kind of go back here. Hopefully I'm not making you guys dizzy. But if you look at, this is where the monument sign is actually proposed. Okay, so, and again, this is Bandera Road, so we look at the monument sign, it's well within code as far as like the height, as far as the landscaping, I mean, everything is in order with that one. And this is what the finished product's gonna look like. See if I can make it a little bit smaller.
Not illuminated, right? Or is
Say again?
not illuminated? Or is illuminated?
Let me double check that. I have that here. This is my monument sign here. Illuminated.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I believe it's gonna be like internal,
Yeah.
internal light.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. We have the applicant here. If we have questions, who's the? Yes, we have questions.
I'm his electrician. Let's see.
Okay, so sit tight for a second. We'll see. Open the floor to commission for questions. Comments.
I guess we have the same question we had the last time, and I know that we were here when it came through, and there was some debate at the time of whether the phone number is the same, is part of the sign or a separate sign. And I think rather than considering it two signs, the decision was to allow the calling it one sign versus with just a greater square footage. And I don't think it was unanimous by any means when that came through. I think we had 8 on the commission at that time. So it was debated. I think we're back to the same question about the whole size and number of the signage. The same as we've had the same conversation on the rest, and whether or not one, if we have the authority to do it, or whether or not it's desirable to have that size of signage on a building. We're back to the same question again.
And the size of the proposed sign is what? Right about 50, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. An additional 50.
Yeah, so you
Right.
started with your existing wall sign at 62.4, and then
Right.
they added the logo. So that's your proposed additional wall sign at about 50 square feet. So your total is right around 113.
Okay. Other comments, questions up here? I have a question, sir, for the applicant. If you don't mind coming up and put in your name and business address on record for us.
Yes, sir. My name is David Alvarez, and I'm part owner of SA Total Tree Service, and many think it's for San Antonio Total Tree Service, but it's actually for my wife, Sonia Alvarez. Because I live in Helotes, so San Antonio's over there.
Okay.
So,
And the address of it is,
I'm sorry,
address of the business, the address?
17285, and they're
Okay, and it's ETJ, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So given you've heard the tenor of the discussion about concerns about size, have you thought about either trying to make this work to bring it more within the spirit of what the ordinance asks for? Because what this would end up with is about double the size, more than double the size of what's allowable, either shrinking it or taking the numbers off, the phone numbers
Yes.
off, which I don't know that you want to do
well,
that.
I just want to do, whatever,
Yeah.
I think it's fair, you know what I mean? That's all I want to do, we're just trying to get this monument sign too at the same time, to get that side view as well. We live here, obviously, here in Helotes, and I know y'all seen that building the way it used to be before, and it was a wreck. But all we're trying to do is just, beautify our community, and not only that, be a part of Helotes, and we're actually one of the vendors of Helotes, the city of Helotes as well. So we do work for the city of Helotes as well.
Yeah. I mean, from a personal perspective, I like that logo. I do. I think it's sharp. I'm just concerned about the size.
Yes, sir.
And I think speaking for myself, I think that monument sign is especially valuable because of its
Oh, yeah.
location on that highway. That's a fast moving highway.
Yes, sir.
People are more likely to see that monument sign. They will see that monument sign more easily than they will as they zip by.
Yeah,
Sure.
being
My
perpendicular, it's going to do like 90% of the work there for advertising.
Is it two-sided?
I'm sorry?
Is the monument sign two-sided?
Yes, sir. Yes.
One minor comment on the monument sign. I believe we require the street number at the base,
Oh, good point.
although I appreciate the landscape part of it. It's already included in the design.
Yeah, we believe the monument sign would require
Be on the side.
or the side, yeah, yeah.
Side of the sign.
So facing Bandera.
Yeah, either way.
Yes, sir.
So my name is Dietrich. My address is 18608 Bandera Road. I'm David's electrical guy. I do all electrical for this job. So, my understanding is the, square footage is a maximum of 100 square. It's 50, 1 square foot per 50 feet, but a maximum of 100 square foot. So the side of the building is 50 feet by 30, so that would be 115 square feet. Does that come into
It's just,
thing there?
it's just the linear.
It's the linear.
It's not
One
the
linear.
50.
So it doesn't matter about the
The
actual,
height is not, it's the linear side
Okay.
that matters.
Okay.
And that's where the 50 comes from because the
oh,
building.
I
is
do
50
understand
feet,
that
so-
part, but I was assuming that
Yeah.
in the face of the building facing Bandera Road would allow him the 115 feet, square feet.
It's just the linear, which is the 50.
Yeah.
Which is the issue.
Okay,
And that,
thank you.
the monument sign you said is internally lit?
Yes, sir.
Is it white light or is it also green in color?
I think it'll be white.
It is gonna be white, so all the, if you notice the yellow, green, it will be illuminated, so you will see the green and yellow,
That's cool.
come like this. Pretty much just the way the wall sign.
Yeah.
They'll reflect the yellow and green.
Thank you.
Any other comment or questions, excuse me, for the applicant? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So at this point, unless there's further discussion, I would invite a motion on item 9. Not everybody at once.
No, it's just kind of,
Thinking.
I mean, we have 2 variances on that, the number and the size. Is that correct? I'm trying.
For the wall sign? Yes.
Mhm.
The number was approved in 21, wasn't it? Phone number?
Not the number,
So the number
Number of
was treated
signs.
as one sign.
yeah,
yeah.
so they just.
So rather than words and numbers, sign 1, sign 2, it's sign 1.
Let me also say something. So if I can't say this, so the sign is actually one sign. So when we hooked it up electrically, it's one sign. It's not 2 signs. I know it's 2 signs, but electrically,
Are you talking about the existing?
yes.
Yeah, understood,
Yes.
understood.
Yes, so the existing, the one that says SA Total Tree Service and the phone number is one sign.
One sign.
Yeah.
The
Right,
logo is 2 signs. So the code only allows 1 per, for sake of example, here is 1 per Bandera Road. Okay, does that make sense?
now on,
I thought there was a second sign allowed.
If it had a street that abuts it, like for example, the canine that we just did, she had Spiller Road and she had
One here,
Braun.
one here.
So you have 1 and 1.
And that's in, okay, and that's
Yeah.
the wall section 60.
Correct.
51.
Yes,
now on the monument then, you will add the address? Is that what y'all?
Yes, ma'am.
You're okay with
So
doing that?
The address will be, if you notice the part facing the Bandera Road on the black, so he'll put the address facing.
Right on the thin.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Okay,
That can
okay, so
also
that's
be-
good.
Some people illuminate it, some people put stickers,
Right.
so just so we can see from Bandera.
You know, I love the monument and I'm good with the monument. It's just that the signage is so huge that it's just kind of unfair to all the other people who want to put that big a sign. And I like it. And I mean, of course you want to put your logo there. It's just that for me, I feel like all the people who aren't allowed to put that big a sign, and y'all have a variance already on they ruled before that you got to combine that to 1. That's my hesitation. I mean, I don't, we have the guidelines there for a reason, and I just wondering if y'all have any ideas of how you could make that smaller.
Will still be 2
So can I
signs.
ask a question? So with that being said, so right now he's at right around 62. So with the original 50 and 24, he's about 62 square feet. on the original sign. So with the 25%. So if he did make it smaller, are we at the max on the linear feet per the ones, you know what I mean? So you're asking the question, if he makes it smaller, can we keep that second sign there? That's basically, you know, because we're already at the max.
Yeah, so I think you're right to point out, you're
Yeah.
allowed 50, this commission is allowed to grant you up to 60. And you're a little bit over that.
Yes.
And now we're looking at adding 50 more. And so I think, again, I'll speak personally, we don't have a motion on the floor. Maybe we need a motion, but it'd be difficult to accomplish that and adhere to the intent of the.
And I was just kind of going off what she's asking, how we
But
make
I
it
was
smaller.
wondering-
Same.
I mean,
How-
if I may,
Let me go
briefly.
Jason first.
looking at this, I mean, just as a case in point, I mean, imagine the proportion of this on a Walmart. I mean, you'd have a sign that's like 100 feet long by 30 feet tall.
No, I
I mean, it's just, you know, you got to think apples to apples for, you know, what he has versus what somebody else may ask for based on what we're giving him if we granted this.
Yeah.
That's the thing what we're having trouble with.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
I'd like to invite a motion at this point, so we have something concrete to discuss.
But wait, can I just say one thing? But just to be clear for them, that's because it's on one side. Like if they chose to put their logo on another side of the building,
It's if you abut a second street.
well, do they have, they
They would
don't
have
have,
to have-
they don't have another street on that side.
Yeah, that was the applicant
Okay.
just before here had a street. They were abutting two streets, so.
Oh, okay.
Has to be a corner property to get the
That's
permission.
right.
for
You
the
don't have
second
another
sign.
street.
It's not a corner
But
property.
does it, I see, yeah.
Michael, if I may have, what number is that on the 6251 on the abutting two streets? Because I'm looking at this and I see the second sign.
I think the
I
term
don't
is actually
see-
public way. We allow if it were like a sidewalk or a walk.
Oh, pedestrian way.
Sure.
Because, you know, it's like the QT, there's two signs facing
In there in the
Bandera,
corner.
you know, so I don't think it actually says abutting to a second street.
No, it does.
It does say that?
Yeah.
What is that section?
6651.
The wording you'll find is per pedestrian.
Yeah, I
way,
don't see the,
Meaning it has to be basically on a corner.
Let me kind of show it to you here.
okay, thank you.
So if we look at that right there,
Make a motion, go for it. You're gonna break it up.
You look at-
Care to make a motion?
let me look at wall signs here. 6651.
Okay, you want to break it up into the monument and the sign? Let me go ahead and do the monument. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'd like for it possible to, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll do the first one. You can do the second.
Okay.
So as far as the monument, let me go back to,
Item 9.
okay, this is a recommendation item.
Yes, it is.
And I move to recommend approval of the request by David Alvarez for approval of the monument sign for SA Total Tree Service located at 17285 Bandera Road, Helotes, Texas, 78023, and identified as VCAD property ID number 248413. And that would be number A, monument sign pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 66, with the condition, of course, that you are going to put the address on the side, which we can't see from the photo that we were presented with, but that will be added on there.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there a discussion of the motion? Ann,
No.
Jason?
No.
Anyone else? So the motion is to recommend approval of the request by David Alvarez for signage for SA Total Tree with associated, well, there's not a variance for this one, Total Sea Service at 17285 Bandera Road, Helotes 78023, including the monument sign, which is pursuant to code, Chapter 66 sign, Section 49 commercial signs, signal business use monument type, to include the address on the sign. All in favor of the motion, signal aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion is approved. Invite a motion on item B, and if you would read out the full thing as well.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to not recommend on a request by David Alvarez for approval of signage for SA Total Tree Services with associated variances located at 17285 Badura Road, Helotes 78023, and identified as BCAT property number 248413. Include the following wall sign pursuant to Municipal Code of Ordinance, Chapter 66 signs.
And would you be okay with changing that starting language to recommending disapproval just for clarity?
Yes, disapproval. Thank you.
Easier that way. Is there a second
I'll second as well.
discussion? Buck
No additional.
Nothing.
and Alex?
No.
Okay, so the motion is to recommend disapproval of the request by David Alvarez for signage for SA Total Tree with associated variances at 17285 Bandera Road, 78023, including the wall sign pursuant to code chapter 66, section 51. So all in favor of the motion to disapprove, please signal aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, so the motion passes to disapprove that one. Now, city council gets the final word, and that will happen when?
The 27th.
27th of March. And so I encourage you to be here and, present to them. Thank you very much for sticking around. Yep. This does bring us to the conclusion of the agenda. I'm happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of adjourning,
excited
signal aye. Opposed, we're adjourned at 8:15.
The little
Thank you all
things.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Oh.